Okay, so these are the bits that I am using for the batch cooking for today. So I've got a large bag of carrots, that's a kilo bag. I've got some trimmed leeks, a packet of celery, 4 onions, I've got some mini potatoes, I've got a Swede, I've got some King Edward potatoes, some parsnips, I've got some diced ox kidney, which is going with the beef shin. So I've got 2 packets of beef shin. I have got 2 packets of 5% steak mince, and I've got 1 packet of chicken thigh fillets. So apart from all the seasonings and everything, that is just about everything that we need, well, for veg and meat anyway. So I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do with all of this. We're just gonna make a few different meals. Oh, I forgot the corned beef. I've also got some corned beef as well. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing something a little bit different. I'm going to do commentary style. I just thought this would be a little bit easier in this setting where I was recording for a number of hours, and I just thought it'd be easier. So myself and my mum decided to do this big lot of batch cooking, and as you can see, we are cutting vegetables. I do apologise for the terrible camera angle. The sun was shining so badly on the camera, I actually couldn't see what you could see. So we kind of just had to go with the flow a little bit. So we decided to prepare all the vegetables right at the very beginning so that every vegetable for every meal was already prepped. So we're doing carrots, mum's doing parsnips there, and then I've cut some carrots into slices for the mince meal, and then I cut thicker carrots for the casseroles. And then I'm going to do the same with the onions. So some of the onions are cut into big chunks, and then I've also cut some of the onions into slices. We actually found this really helpful to actually be completely prepped before we started. But where I used to prep one lot of veg for one meal and then have to go back to prepping again, it just doesn't work properly. So actually having everything ready in the beginning saved so much time. As you can see, mum's now chopping a leek, and she had chopped a Swede that was out camera that you couldn't see. So all those things were done and ready, which was absolutely fantastic. I was chopping some celery now as well. So today we're making a beef and kidney casserole, a chicken casserole, a gravy style mince, which I did do some with mashed potato and some plain, and also I made a corned beef hash. So here I am pre-boiling some of the vegetables to go in the casseroles, because I find they're just never soft enough otherwise. So I parboiled all the mixture of carrots, I parboiled the parsnips and Swede together, and then I'm now sweating off the leeks and celery for the first casserole. So we started with the chicken casserole first, because I wanted to get that in the slow cooker. And actually I found the way that we did all this, the order we did it in, worked so well. So I've sweated off the veg. I'm now gonna brown off the meat. I always brown meat off for a casserole. You don't have to do this, but I just think it gives the meat a better texture. So I'm gonna season the chicken while it's in the pan as well. And I made some gravy, and I used 2 Oxo stock pots for the flavourings for the chicken casserole. There's me adding the Swede and the parsnip in there, and obviously the chicken. So that's all the ingredients put in there now, and so I've put it on a slow cook for 4 hours, which was actually a little bit more than needed. So now I'm just chopping up the beef shin for the beef casserole. This was so hard to cut. The gristle on it was really bad. So you want to fry that beef on a really high heat because you really want it to get browned. There's just me seasoning the meat again. So I always season the meat before it goes in the casserole. And I like to get a nice sort of sticky texture to that beef where it's sort of sticking to the pan a little bit. I did realise that I only actually chopped up one packet of the beef shin. So I've added in the onion and the celery there. So I'm just going to sweat that down a little bit with the beef because it takes on the beef flavour. And then you'll notice in a minute that there's more beef in the pan. So that was me adding the carrots. So they're parboiled, those carrots. And there's me cooking up a second lot of beef and putting it all back in the pan like it should have been in the first place. So I added some Swede and parsnip into that as well. And gravy, I think it was 1.4 litres. So that was a beef stock pot. It was a beef casserole mixed also with beef gravy. So it was like a real big jumble. And then some mixed herbs. And into the oven. So now I'm moving on to the mince dish. So it's 2 packets of mince. I think they're about 750 grams. I realised that I didn't have a pot big enough since I'd used my casserole dish. So I decided to do 2 separate dishes. Sorry, completely lost my train of thought there. Sorry, I'm not used to the commentary style. Which actually works out well because there was a few things that I'm putting in the large dish which I actually can't eat. So I decided that the smaller dish would be mine. I keep it more simple, and the bigger dish would be for my dad and the kids to have. So I was adding in some onion and I put in some garlic. It was probably equivalent to about 2 cloves of chopped garlic into each pot. And just really mashing up the meat there and incorporating it all. So I decided to add a vegetable oxo cube and a beef oxo cube into each of the pans. This gives it a lovely flavour. You just sort of like fry it up a little bit so it just really gets that flavour into the meat. Then I'm adding a tin of chopped tomatoes. Just stir that round so it's all mixed in. And then I made some quite thick gravy. Added that in. You just want to have enough just to cover it like that. Bit of salt and pepper. And I think I put mixed herbs in that time, but I've run out of mixed herbs, so I had to put Italian in mine, which also works. You can put any herbs you want in there. Added in the pre-cooked carrots and some frozen peas. So I put the peas in quite early. They don't quite need to go in that early, but obviously it brings the temperature down. So at the same time, I'm starting the corned beef hash. So the potatoes have been boiled and I'm now just frying the onions, starting them off. And then the potatoes go in to start frying up as well. And I've got that mince simmering in the back, and at the front I have some new potatoes just boiling away because they're a side dish. It really did work doing all these different things at once. Like I had the chicken casserole in the slow cooker, I had a beef casserole in the oven, then I had the mince on the hob, I've got the corned beef on the hob, and also I've got those other potatoes on as well. So the reason the pan at the back has got corned beef and the one at the front hasn't is purely because they're different pans and the potatoes at the back cooked a lot quicker. So they were starting to brown off nicely, so I added in the corned beef. And there's me just buttering potatoes. So these potatoes are going to go in the freezer. And that's corned beef hash, looking really, really nice. That corned beef broke up quite a lot, but the potatoes stayed together quite nicely. My dad requested tomatoes in the corned beef hash, which I know is not common, but he likes it. So I strained the tin of tomatoes so there wasn't loads of juice because I just thought it'd ruin it. and that's me cooking, stirring up the beef casserole and adding in the kidney. So that casserole had been in the oven for about 2 hours at this point. And the meat was actually nearly done. I was quite surprised. So I put the kidney in and put it in for about half an hour. That is the finished mince with some potato on or mashed potato on top. That's the finished chicken casserole and the finished beef casserole. Beef and kidney casserole, I should say. So I managed to get 6 portions, decent sized portions, of the beef and kidney casserole. And I think I got 5 portions of the chicken casserole. That was my half-eaten corned beef hash before the tomatoes went in. That was it after the tomatoes went in. So there was 3 really good portions of that. Um, yeah, so that's just some of the finished dinners there. That was the whole lot packed in the box to take to my dad's. And that was what we ended up with. I was really impressed at how much food I managed to get cooked up for him, and that's now going to stock his freezer for probably the next 4 or 5 weeks. So thank you for watching.